Hi, I'm John Mogus, and welcome to this week's Charlie's Cavalry Coaches Show, joined as always by Chargers head coach Pete Rosamondo. Coach, coming off a 52-23 victory over Stonehill, at halftime we spoke, and you seemed concerned with how long it took for your team to really get a rhythm going on both sides of the ball. This has now really become a trend with your team, that slow start. How do you avoid that this Friday against Southern Connecticut?
I'm not sure we're going to be able to avoid it. I think, when you're a ranked team and you're playing against non-ranked teams, everybody wants to make a statement, and, they're going to come out in the first half ready to go, fired up, a lot of emotion, a lot of enthusiasm. And, I think we did a good job of matching that, but, we're going to get their best effort. And, we have to just continue to be, protect the football and not give up turnovers and give them quick scores and those types of things. And, I think this, we have become a second half team.
On defense, one of your keys was controlling Demetrius Troy and the Skyhawk running attack. Were you satisfied with your team's run defense on Saturday?
I think we did a good job of controlling the run. We made them a one-dimensional team. He did hit a couple early on. We were misaligned a couple times, and he managed to pop a couple out of there. And but certainly in the second half, we hunkered down and we did a great job of stopping them.
I think at one point during the second quarter, I could really see the offensive line just really start to click and really roll. At one point, allowing Mike DeCaro to rush for 3 first downs on 4 consecutive rush plays. And tell us about their performance in comparison to Assumption.
Yeah, I'm proud of the way they rebounded. It was a really tough game against William & Mary, coming back against Assumption. Really good defense, especially front seven. Gave us a lot of problems, and we challenged them this week to come out and be physical and be able to run the football. And in the second quarter, we sort of got our rhythm and we found the plays that were working, and those guys were just rolling, and it was fun to watch.
Mike DeCaro finished his day as the team leader in all-purpose yards with 139 on the ground and 98 on kick returns. Talk about how well he has played through the first 5 games this season.
Tremendous. I mean, he's staying healthy, which is the most important thing, knock on wood, and we really feel blessed to have him. He's so dynamic. I mean, he can make something out of nothing, and he's not afraid to be physical either. I think people think because he's 190 pounds, he's going to be afraid to run between the tackles, and as you saw in the second quarter, he's not afraid to do that, and he does very well when we give him the ball there.
With Victor Jones out for the season with the same ACL injury that ended his 2010 season prematurely, how does your team change? How does that change game planning? If you don't have the horse that you're so used to in that backfield.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. Victor is, he's a big loss for us from an emotional standpoint. He's a great leader for us on the offensive side of the ball, and he gives us a good kick. He's a good blocker. He's certainly not afraid to stick his nose in there, and he gets us those tough yards that, maybe a guy that's not as big and physical can't get you those yards. But I feel really blessed to have Anthony Tillman, he's sophomore. He's really come into his own this year, and he's going to be that guy that has to fill that role, and I feel good about having him.
Keeping DeCaro healthy has to be one of the biggest keys to the second half of this season here. Will you manage his touches to try to keep him fresh down the stretch?
Can't manage Mike. He's he's a stallion. You can't keep him in the stable for long. You got to just let him go, and whatever happens, happens. It's a game of football. You got to let him go out and play.
So let's take a couple of look at some of the offensive highlights from this week. The first of which, it was on that second drive, as we mentioned, where you had 3 rushing plays on that drive, resulted in first downs, 4 rushing plays total, and then you came up with Camille Lashley for a touchdown. Yeah,
we had a really good good groove going there, running the football, and we came up here with a play action pass, and Camille was faking the block and wheeled down the sideline, and Ryan hits him in stride there for a touchdown.
I think one of the best parts of this play is where Jason Thompson cuts down that post route, takes the safety with him,
yep.
And that's just an easy throw for Ryan.
Yeah, it was a great read and great location.
Now this second highlight here actually is a terrific play by Jason Thompson, just a spectacular catch in the corner of the end zone. But break down this route a little bit for us, and what is this little fake that Ryan gives us?
The first option really is Josh Smart, and I think he wanted to throw it to Josh and realized that it was covered down, and then he came off of it to his second read, which is Jay, a little late, which is why it's so deep in the end zone. But great throw, again, great location. It's one of the reasons why he was so efficient on the day, and it's a great job by Jay getting his feet in bounds there.
With the injury to Demetrius Washington Ellison sort of limited him this week. Thompson, he's really come along this season. He seems to have a mismatch every single week against an opponent's secondary.
He's big and fast, and he's become a better student of the game, and when you couple that with a guy who's 6'4" and 190 pounds, and he can really run as good as just about anybody on the field. So.
Now, this last highlight here is just a spectacular individual effort by Chris Ruffin on this crossing route that he ends up turning into 6.
Yeah.
So what's this read here? What's this?
Well, it's man coverage, and you got a crossing route with Chris. And we just want to get the first down. He's over the first down. He just makes a tremendous play to break a tackle, and Chris has got enough speed to finish at the end. And just again, this is different Chris Ruffin than you saw a year ago. He's certainly more physical. He's much more confident, tireless worker out there. So really happy to see Chris have some success out there.
Well, defensively, your team came up with a couple of pretty important plays, the first of which we'll see here is a sack by Tom Hurd. And let's talk about the front four and their performance a little bit in this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why they couldn't run the ball as effectively as they wanted to. Tom is a great, really fun guy to watch play. If you ever get out a chance to watch him play, he's tremendous. He gets off the ball really fast. He gets rid of people, and he closes to the ball carrier very, very quickly. And Rob sort of sets this up here on the opposite side, beating the tackle pretty clean. Makes him step up where Tom is definitely coming down from the inside to make a big play.
Yeah, it was a mismatch a little bit on that. Tom was blocked by a tight end initially, and then he was able to beat him up the field when Rob Hill made the play.
Yeah, you don't want to block that guy with a tight end.
This second defensive play, another spectacular individual play by Brian LaShore to keep his hands on the ball and keep it in the air. At this point, game a little bit out of hand at 31-9.
Yeah, great initial play by J.D. Shalafo there on the short route. Gets the ball up in the air. Brian just keeps it alive, and he's able to secure the ball for us, get us a turnover. Great field position. I think we scored on the next play.
The injury report has grown significantly in the last 10 days, particularly on the defensive side of the ball with John Jackson, Desmond Anderson, Kaki Ramashvili, Cody Wallace, and Scott Schultz, all limited or missing time against Stonehill. Can you tell us a little bit about their conditions and if we can expect to see any of the 5 of them?
Yeah, I mean, Dez is healthy. He could have played in the game. He did play some. We just wanted to get him some reps out there. He's healthy. He's fine. He's ready to go. Scott Schultz is 100% this week. He will not be limited at all. Kaki's still nagged by that foot injury. It just doesn't seem to be healing, and he still can only go really 1 or 2 days in a row, and it's not going to get him out on the field. Cody Wallace is back at practice this week, so thank goodness.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, after that collision. So yeah, well, I mean, John Jackson's got a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the season. That's a very big blow to our defense from a depth standpoint. John was actually playing excellent for us, as a starter, and now we're going to be, we're going to be tied to 2 corners in Kendrick Butler and Des Anderson. I mean, 2 pretty good ones, but we don't have much depth behind them other than a couple of young guys that are just trying to feel their way around.
We have finally arrived at the battle for New Haven, a game that promises to be high on emotion. How do you expect your team to match up with the Owls' strengths?
Well, their strengths are, they're a physical running football team. They got a great running back. I thought he was the best running back in the league last year. And he didn't get the nod for some reason. I certainly voted for him every time they came up for all conference. But they got a big offensive line that likes to get downhill on you. And, I think they're going to play against our defensive line, which I think is the strength of our defense. So that should be a heck of a battle. I'm not so sure offensively we match up great with them. They're pretty big and physical on the defensive line, and their secondary is very disciplined. They don't let a lot of balls get over their head, and it's going to be a tough test for our offense. But I think Ryan and that receiving core is going to have to step up this week.
You seem to have some pretty high praise. You seem to agree with me that Slowly is a very special back. What specifically makes him so good? Is it the speed? What exactly is it?
He's got good speed. I wouldn't say he's got great speed, but coupled with the the physicality at which he runs the football, he's very difficult to stop.
Southern secondary has already intercepted 13 passes through 5 games this year. What has been the key to their success back there?
Well, I think that, again, it's the discipline in which they play. They play a disciplined, physical brand, and when you do that, it makes receivers maybe not stretch out as much for a ball, or quarterback maybe get rid of it a little bit before the receiver is actually open. They do play a 3-4 defense, which allows them to be in an 8-man coverage scheme every now and again, and they do that, and they cover the field pretty good.
Ike Igbinason has 4 sacks, 5.5 tackles for loss. He's 4th in the team in tackles with 25 total. The D end in that 3-4, how do you really handle him, and how will your offensive line attack him this week?
You know, you handle him as best you can, and you just try not to allow him to make plays in the backfield. You make him work for everything that he's got to get. He's a heck of a player. He's a big physical guy, and gave us a lot of trouble last year inside, and he's playing nose guard last year, so they moved him outside. And you know, we're just going to do our best to keep him, you know, contained.
When we looked back at last year's game versus Southern Connecticut State, your defense really closed it out spectacularly, forcing 3 turnovers on each of Southern's last 3 possessions. How important will it be to win the turnover differential on Friday night?
Well, you know, the key is for us not to turn it over. We cannot give them field position. I mean, they're certainly an offense that's very efficient. You know, they put the ball in the end zone, and we have to make sure they have to drive the entire field in order to get in the end zone. If we turn it over and we don't create any turnovers on our side, then we're going to have a tough time in the game.
Coach, thanks for your time. Good luck this Friday.
Thanks, John.
For more, be sure to tune in to NewHavenChargers.com, or for a completely student perspective, be sure to tune to charliescavalry.wordpress.com.